Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I'm here with Kyle, Peckers with the Zero on Instagram. He's a super talented artist. Go check him out. By the way, he also helps with some cool shirts designs. If you go to thebestnerdyshirts.com.
That one I didn't design. Nick did that one, but you know.
You go to thebestnerdyshirts.com. We got stuff from Severance. We got stickers. We got artwork, and we're designing more cool shirts. Just so you know, we have a goat shirt coming out. It's going to be really cool. And on that note, today we're talking about Mark S. But just so you know, we've been doing deep dives on Severance. We already did one on Milchek, and we also did one just our second watching of it, and we've been doing reviews and deep dives when the show was coming out for season 1. So we're super excited for season 2. And now, Mark S.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know about you, Nick, but I basically kind of, categorized it of like, okay, Innie Mark, outie Mark, and then the relationship, right? Like kind of like how they kind of, interact or not, right? Like
yeah, no, totally. Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, so I kind of so Innie Mark, like he's pretty content with his job until Petey left, right? Big air quotes, left, right? So and like this was like, for me, like this is the event that upset his sense of normalcy as an Innie, right?
Shook him up.
Yes, exactly. So like it shook up his world. So like it also shows like he values his colleagues, like his friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because technically they are his only friends,
yeah,
considering his life, right? His split chronology. Mm-hmm. So like he's generally concerned for their well-being, and this is extended to all of them, right?
And I want to also say too, I feel like they're all that way in their group.
That's true. They are pretty close knit, and I think that might be by design, or that's just by their character traits.
Yeah, what's kind of interesting is because they're all like only been alive for 2 years. I always think of their innies as kids, kind of too, and I feel like that kids, when like you're in school. When you make a friend, it's like a bond, right? You spit on your hand, you do blood bonds, you do pinky promises. Like there's so much more trust as a childhood friend compared to adult. Because an adult, you get all you've been burnt before, you've been betrayed, so you have like scars and stuff like that.
Got this armor you carry around.
Exactly. So I think that's why they like trust each other so much. Anyways, that
makes sense.
That's a jump, but yes, go for it.
No. I mean that makes sense. I mean, because all macrodat innies like have shown their what I would call their tipping points, right? Or like or like their
snapping points,
like themes that they are champions of, right? Yeah. For Mark, it's friendship. At least that's what I believe, right?
He really does care about his friends.
Yeah.
Especially Halliar.
Yes. Well, that could also blossom into something else, but
like he really wanted to protect her. He went to the break room for her. He did whatever he could to like take the punishments away so she wouldn't have to experience the break room.
Right. That's true. And then outie Mark. So he's an alcoholic loner. Not of course by choice, but he has trauma of losing his wife, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why you go to therapy, all right, for stuff like that. Struggling,
which he left his therapist.
That's right, because Devin was asking him about
By the way, she said your therapist with the funny mustache. Yeah. I'm like, hold on, is Milchek his therapist as like an outie? I'm just saying. He's everywhere. Milchek, by the way, we did a Milchek deep dive. Did not talk about that, but we have tons of other fun theories. Okay, keep going.
Right. No, yeah. No, he's, and like he's like struggling to get back out there and like follow through on his commitments, right, with his sister and like other stuff like that. Also like dating.
Yep, dating.
And he was a history teacher, like like a college level history teacher. So it's like he basically, he chose to go, like, to get the severance procedure because of this trauma, right? By losing his wife. So that kind of leads us into like the Innie outie relationships that I see. But like, I'm sorry, Nick, I'm talking a whole bunch.
No, it's true though, because it's even to the point, because you want to talk about their relationship, right?
Yeah.
I believe Harmony, Mrs. Coulter, or Mrs. Cobell. Oh my gosh, that's his Dark Materials. We've been jumping across doing tons of different videos. Mrs. Cobell, I think she thinks he's reintegrated. That's
Right.
why she's constantly testing him.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to her and stealing his candles from his house, his Audie's house, and bringing it into the wellness thing, to putting him in the room with his wife for wellness stuff. Like she's like I want this guy to break. Like he has to be reintegrated like Petey. That's what I think. It's just like a theory, and I think that's why she like tests him so much, and she's like, "Are you sure, Mark?" and stuff like that. She does have a super weird relationship with Mark too.
It's complicated, yeah.
Because she's very nice to Outie Mark.
Yes.
And she treats Innie Mark lower than dirt.
Via Mrs. Selvig.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting too, because like she's super nice to Mark, almost to the point where, is he a Lumen? Or not Lumen? Oh my gosh, an Egan. Is he an Egan?
So
like
I have, so that's going into the theory stuff, and
okay, should we wait for that then? We can definitely wait. We can definitely wait for that. We can talk more about Mark, even Outie Mark. We also talked about the Truman Show around him.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, I don't know if it's around him. Like,
or at least around all the severed people. They're all Truman.
There's this, and we know that they're a part of this environment, this town, right? And also this made-up state, PE, with the initials PE. I don't know what that stands for, but they are in the town of Egan, in the state of PE, whatever that is. Right?
Dang, it's like Disneyland. Doesn't Disneyland
It's not Egan. It's Kier. It's the town of Kier. Yeah.
But that's like Disneyland. I feel like Disneyland owns, like Disney World is like their own little city within Florida kind of thing. They got their own police. They got their own stuff and stuff. But so it's like, that's like Lumen.
I guess you're right. I guess it does that kind of, that's where I get the Truman Show vibes, at least with that. You know, everyone's all contained.
Yeah, we don't know yet. There hasn't been enough information. There's only been one season, but there's definitely something going on there. And then one of the main things we have to talk about is Petey.
Yes.
You can't talk about Mark without talking about Petey.
Mm-hmm.
They were very close.
Yeah.
In the last episode, when we're doing the Milchek breakdown, when we were going through footage and stuff, we noticed a Post-it note was left on the input survey. Was that the name? Yeah, it was left on the survey, right? Was it the survey? Yes, it was the survey.
It was the input, the introduction, basically.
Yeah.
Like to get the I forget the name of the actual thing.
And there's a Post-it note left there.
Yes.
And it had to either be Petey, because he was the last one, or maybe someone before Petey.
I think it's Petey because two reasons. One is because Mark now has Petey's old job, and what he's doing was the role of the old, like, sort of manager for Macrodats, right? Is to facilitate the new onboarding, right, for like new people. And also we know that Petey, due to his map making skills, that he likes to doodle. And on that sticky note are a couple of doodles, right? There's like a spiral and like, so I was like, okay, this could very well be, like, definitely could be Petey, you know? Like, I think it's like 99% certainty that it is him.
I'm curious if there's more notes left behind.
We might see some.
Yeah, because I have a theory which we'll break down in the Petey video. But like I mentioned earlier, I believe Petey was reintegrated and also attending work still and going to work for a little while. That's why, hence, he was trying to complete the map and stuff like that too. Because I think with the sickness, he got worse and worse before his death. I don't think it was as bad when he first got it.
Yeah. He had less of those like crazy migraine attacks or whatever they were. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a theory, but we can dive more on the Petey side later. But definitely Petey wakes up Outie Mark.
Yes, he is the sort of he's the first inference point where he starts, you know, letting Outie Mark know that not all is well, right, in any world. Yeah, right.
And which is also very interesting. He left him a niece card because a niece. Remember, like you would be a really cool niece. Remember, it was like a birthday card for a niece, and basically his sister was about to give birth to a girl, right? So I think this is no. That's a Petey theory. I have a weird connection between
Right.
Devin
Okay,
and
yeah.
Petey. I'm going to talk about, but anyways, that's
Okay.
another. Sorry, I'm jumping over the place.
So
Petey always gets me so distracted. Get us
yeah.
back on Mark, please.
Yeah, so kind of going into like the Innie outie relationships that I just kind of
Yes.
like that I've observed a lot, and also like I try to infer a little bit is so like as Mark descends the elevator, and we see this for every character,
Yes.
right? For the macrodats, like like we see their subtle but noticeable changes to their face and their posture, right? So
Yes.
like outie Mark looks more haunted, more cynical, I would say,
Yeah.
because he kind of has this curl to his mouth, like a and then Innie Mark, he looks more, I would say, like almost naive,
Yes.
like optimistic in a way.
Very much so.
However, both they're curious, right? So outie with Petey, right, who was an absolute stranger, right? I just approached him, but like yet he still is like, hey, you can stay at my house, right? Because also like Petey is kind of a mystery, right? He wants to know more. And then like with Innie Mark, like he wants to discover the inner workings of Lumen. Right, he wants to figure out what's going on, especially after the event of Petey leaving.
Yeah.
Right, is like, wait a minute, and that kind of starts this snowball effect. And then Innie Mark, he's a product of his outies intentionally trying to avoid the depression and sadness of losing his wife. Right, like he's essentially like Innie Mark is essentially a grief sink. Right, like 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. That outie Mark doesn't have to live with his grief.
Yep.
Right. And like Petey even mentions this, right? He says like now that I've seen your like the outie version of you, and I know about your wife, like you carry that sadness with you into the office. Right.
Yeah, because didn't they have a nickname for him too? Because he would come in with red eyes.
Yeah. Yep.
Or something like that.
Like he'd just been crying. Yeah. And then
which he was.
Yes, yeah, which we know because we there was a scene with that.
That's how it starts off. That's like how the show starts off, basically, with him crying.
Yep.
Which was a beautiful shot too, because he goes from crying and he has the tissue, which he's able to take up with him, and he puts in his pocket, and then like his character sees the tissue just to visually show he has no idea what the outie's thinking at all. And he tosses it, and he's just like he sniffles, like what the heck, what's going on, And then he's beautifully done. I love the hallway scenes with Mark. So good.
Yeah. And then outie and Innie Mark become more, I would say, like more complementary to one another as the season goes on, right? So like this happens like either intentionally, like so with the security room key card, right? Or unintentionally, which is with Rickon's book, the UUR, right? That's not intentional. That's not through Mark's design, but it's still, the relationship still comes back because they're both like, they've both interacted with this book in some way. They have a relationship to it. Innie Mark much more so than outie, right? Yeah. But still, it's a connective tissue. And then I would say that also, like, because of this, their relationship is arguably the most natural. In that it's because it's almost intuitive, right? It's not, they don't know that like they're explicitly trying to communicate to each other, but they pick up on cues. They go like, why do I have the security room key card? Right?
His outie must have gave it to him.
Yeah, and he's like, but we can use this because of what we're doing, right? Yeah. And so it's like it's fascinating.
Perfect timing. It's like perfect timing for the situation, and if anything, it gives Innie Mark hope.
Yeah. Yep. And I think we might see these relationships with other characters come to, because that commonality, like I was saying, is his curiosity. Yeah. We might see that emerge with other characters as well, because we know that all the characters, with the macrodats at least, they have stuff that they're champions of, right? So I said Mark is a champion of friendship. I would say Irving is a champion of love. Dylan is a champion of family. And Helly is a champion of justice.
Yeah, justice and freedom.
I won't go too much into that because we're going to be covering those characters in depth, but and what that means. But yeah.
So I think we're at theory time.
You know what, Nick? We are. It's that favorite part of the camp out where we all gather around the fire and toast marshmallows.
Woo, time to just
about our speculations
throw stuff on
and theories.
The wall and see if it sticks.
All right, so Nick, what were you saying? You think?
Okay.
Mark is sneaking.
I'm trying to find a reason why Miss Cobell, Miss Harmony, is so nice to Mark on the outside.
Yeah.
I don't know if she understands the circumstance how he lost his wife, but was it organized? Did they do it on purpose? It happened as a car accident. Was it for a test just to see if love can transcend the Severance program? Is it deeper than that, or is it just one of those things where it's like they were able to save a life? The only way to save the life was bring it to Lumen, but they didn't want to tell Mark. Like, who knows all the circumstances around it? I just know Miss Cobell is nice to outie Mark, and I'm like, she loves Egan's more than anything. Yeah. She has a shrine to Egan's in her house. Is Mark and Egan?
So I don't think that Mark's an Egan, but you did allude to this just now. I think he and his wife, aka Miss Casey, may be a part of a larger experiment with Severance tech. And I think his wife's car crash wasn't an accident.
And that's because
I think we're gonna recognize someone that actually caused the crash. Like in season 2, and it's going to connect that part.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah,
you know what was the book that they released with the
Lexington Letters?
In the Lexington Letters, there's also a car accident.
Oh wow, yeah, that's right.
Let's just say there seems to be car accidents around this company and around this neighborhood. That's
what I always say. Never trust car accidents at face value.
Anyways, but it's very interesting because it wouldn't shock me if he's an Egan, because I would believe the Egans probably have lovers and lovers and lovers, and there's like a hidden bloodline of Egans. You know how the culty stuff gets super weird with all that stuff and all that. And I mean, he's not, obviously, there's no way, it's all speculation at this point.
Sure.
If you can claim that there's one little subtle hint thing, blah, 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 no, there has not been enough to fully claim anything like that. But another theory is, well, I guess it's kind of tied to Miss Casey, but man, I'll save that for Miss Casey. It's too Miss Casey for this. But
isn't it interesting? Like, all the characters are so interconnected.
Yes, it is.
It's hard to just...
Yeah, Miss Casey deserves her own. Let's just say that. Mark, why is Mark so important? He's our main character, and there's much more to Mark that we don't know yet. Like, what was he before he was a history teacher? You know what I mean? Like, there has to be more. That's why I think,
or maybe something while he was a history teacher. Who knows?
I mean, did Miss Casey change his life and took him away from a certain type of world or life or family or something like that and introduced him to I'm just like, what was his pre-life like? But that's my major theory. I don't have any other major theories on Mark. He's like our main character that we know the most about. Yeah. And there's not too many theories going around Mark. There's more about all those side characters, I feel like, than Mark. Mark's kind of like...
It's because they're like, the more obfuscated you are, the more theories you can have, right? Yeah. We've seen the most of Mark's life, and it's like, it kind of doesn't leave a lot of room for speculation. I mean, of course there will be, right? But not like as much as some others.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and going into season 2. Yeah. I'm like, the question in my mind is, does he go back to Lumen at this point?
Because, I mean, at the finale, the season finale, I don't know what's going to happen after that, because like everyone knows now, like they did the overtime contingency protocol, right? So something's going to happen. Like, are they going to have a group session in the training, or what's it called, the training room? Well, not the break room, but it's the service wing. Yeah, in the service wing.
You know, it's interesting too, because if outie Mark knows his wife is still alive, he's gonna want to go back in. Yep. And do they all play stupid? Like, oh, I didn't know, because technically they don't know what their innies want. Outies are clean and innocent at this point. Innocent until proven guilty. Maybe the only guilty one's Irving, but Irving's outie, because that's the whole thing. Irving's, we're gonna talk about him and how I think he's trying to take down the company from the inside, kind of thing. But I'm very interested to see what's going to happen season 2 with Mark S. I'm excited to see what he decides to do, if he goes back or if he tries to take him out from the inside. And also how involved Rickon and his sister Devin are going to be.
I think increasingly. So one thing in season 1 with Devin is that, you know, she's finding the peripheral Severance use cases, right? Especially with that senator's wife, right? And like having the baby, right? Like severing that part of her mind so she doesn't have to undergo the pain of childbirth, right? So like I think she's gonna like, because you know Devin is actually, she's pretty plucky, right? She'll like, oh, like, you know, I'm gonna stir up a conversation with this person, you know, and like she, you know, she finds stuff out that way. And then Rickon, you know, he's I mean, it's so weird. Like he tries so hard to be influential, right? And he ends up doing so, but not in the way he thinks, right? Or like he expects, right?
I can't wait to do our Rickon video. I have so many fun theories on why this guy has goat milk in his house. and we have other theories coming up too. Like, oh my gosh, guys, subscribe. It's going to be so much fun going down the rabbit hole. And I can't wait till after we do all the deep dives and then we can all actually be making these connections.
Yes.
Like between all the characters, because we don't want to spoil too much and do too much on one video, just in case you're only interested in one character too. But subscribe. We're gonna be breaking down. Oh, is there any other topics you want to?
Well, at some point, Nick, what you're talking about is at some point we might have an episode just for what we call the diagram.
Yes. Actually, do you want to tell them about the diagram? You want to hint at it? What we're doing?
Yes. So the diagram, we are essentially, and I'm trying to do this with every Severance episode we do when I go through the scripting phase, is I add another tidbit to the diagram. So basically the diagram is a giant endless canvas of all the interconnectedness of what we know so far with the characters, the information, the art, like hints and like all the Easter eggs and stuff.
The Egan.
How they might potentially connect, right? Especially the Egans. One of the big central columns is the Egan lineage. Yeah. You know, from all the way from here down to the current one to Jane, right? So and I'm pretty sure that it wasn't Jaime that pioneered the Severance chip. It might have been his predecessor, the lady, because Jaime took over in 2003.
Yeah. And
so sorry, I'm getting into the diagram stuff.
No, we have some good points here because we're trying to timeline everything out too. Because technically, Heliar saw the first chip.
She did when she was a
kid. So that gives us a time frame too of everything. It does, which is so much fun.
And Heli is confirmed, I believe, as being 32 years old. I think. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
So if you guys are excited about Severance season 2, comment down below. Let us hear your thoughts and theories too. We love to hear them and read them too, because if we get enough comments, we'll probably start doing comment reviews and answering theory questions and stuff like that, creating the community around it. And if you go to Instagram, follow Kyle Peckus with a 0 on Instagram. He's a super talented artist. He helps designs a lot of our shirts. Obviously not this one, like you said earlier. But if you go to bestnerdyshirts.com, you can find our cool Severance stuff, our Dune stuff, our His Dark Materials, to other fun stuff we're doing. Even Cousin Greg from Succession. So we've been covering a lot of different shows here. So subscribe to get all the updates, and we'll see you on the next AsArt Daydream.
Oh yeah. You love the classics, man. You love the classics.